just installed a Simrad NSS Evo 3 onto the Edgewater, and to get familiar with the unit, I've come a few miles northeast of the Noosa Bar to one of my live bait spots. So I'm going to collect some live bait and then have a look around just to see if I can mark some fish on the sounder to get familiar with how they look on the new unit.
With any new sounder, it's important to get familiar with what fish look like on the screen. When targeting coral trout, my preferred bait is live yakkers. Once I had plenty of live bait, it was time to find some trout territory. I headed to an area that I knew was good trout ground, and moving around at 4 knots, I started looking for reefy bottom and fish holding on structure. It wasn't long before I found what I was looking for.
So to catch coral trout, I'm using a pretty simple rig. I'm using a snood rig with 2 BKK Octopus 7/0 hooks and a running ball sinker. I pin the front hook up through the head of the yakka and the bottom hook just above the anal fin. That's so he can swim nicely if there's any current, and you get a pretty good hookup rate when you hook them like that.
I'm using 80-pound leader tied to 50-pound braid, and my live bait is as close to the bottom as I can get it.
Yep. Oh, come on, off the bottom. Come on. Oh, I reckon I've got him off the bottom now, come on. He still wants to go hard though. Oh. Yes. Oh, that was a good hit. Really good strike. This has got to be a big trout, has to be. It's either a trout or a cod. Oh man, that was the hit I've been looking for the last half an hour or so. Just been spot hopping between a couple of marks, and I thought this ground looked pretty trouty. Oh, he's still got some running in. What do we got here? Oh, I reckon it's a really, really nice trout. Oh, this is the best one I've got for a while. That is a beast of a trout. Oh, yes. Let's get this guy in the boat. Oh, look at that. That's a beautiful trout. That is a Sunshine Reef trout if I've ever seen one, around the 4 to 5 kilo mark. Now these guys only feed once every 3 days apparently, so you got to be here at the right time when they're feeding. I don't know if they all feed at the same time or not, but we're a few days after the new moon cycle, and this guy didn't waste much time then. I've been to a couple of spots with no luck, and that livey was down for about 30 seconds. And look, that's the powerful thing about using a sounder when it's set up properly, is I saw some ground that looked like good trout territory, and the first livey down, and this guy's pounced all over it.
At 74 centimetres, this was the biggest trout I'd ever caught. If I'd been fishing any lighter, I most likely wouldn't have landed this fish.
Another little trick I use when I'm fishing for trout is, if the bite goes a little bit quiet after I've got one, I just take the motor off spot lock and drift about 5 or 10 metres and then re-lock, and sometimes that's all it takes to find a new patch of fish.
There doesn't need to be a lot of fish on the sounder to find trout, as they are usually hiding in the reef.
Yep. Come on. Not as big as the other one. Smaller fish, still an aggressive bite. There's nothing like fish that take liveys on the bottom. What have we got this time? Oh yeah, it's another nice trout. Didn't go as hard, but we'll take that any day of the week. You can't complain about that for a fish. Coral trout, one of our most prized species here on Sunshine Reef, and you never say no to that.
I love targeting coral trout. The strike is intense and super addictive, but landing them requires some patience and solid tackle.